He wasn't just gambling, he was unraveling, live in front of thousands of viewers. For a while, it looked like entertainment. A high roller lifestyle, another spin, another bet, another I'm one hit away from glory moment. But the stakes kept rising. The wins became less meaningful to him. The losses got larger and they'd lead to a lot of drama. His life was crashing down around him, live for his viewers to see, to laugh at, and to ridicule. This is the story of Bossman Jack. How a streamer, someone who is paid to gamble all day long, can get pulled into the churn of gambling addiction just like anyone else. Who is Bossman Jack? Bossman Jack built his audience brick by brick. He'd go live, streaming himself gambling, betting big, sharing everything. He was funny, relentless, and he made bets that felt insane, but would captivate his audience. And maybe most importantly, he felt like an everyday person. He wasn't some corporate partner that's larger than life like Drake or Aiden Ross, but he was the guy who stayed up late into the middle of the night gambling, who felt the pain of his losses, and who swore that he was one spin away from the big win that would change it all. That I'm gonna get that big win persona is the engine of gambling streams. It keeps people glued to their screens to see if the next one really was the big win. He made gambling look fun, until he really didn't. In fact, he's probably the streamer that scared away the largest portion of his audience that I've ever come across personally. The rise looked like this. A big win here, clips going viral, followers piling in. Gambling streamers like Bossman Jack, they feel two dopamine waves at once. They get the thrill of risking money, and then they get the rush of getting all this validation from their audience and growing their socials. Applause becomes a chemical. Applause becomes its own addiction. Donations become ammunition. And subscriber goals? Yeah, they become perfect excuses to keep spinning the slot machine. Every spin stops being about odds. It becomes performance, validation, and then survival. If you're up, you have to keep pressing your luck because your audience wants to see you hit bigger. And if you're down, you have to chase. Something that Bossman did a lot. Because hey, the show has to go on. And your job is to show your audience that they can win big too, right? Well, that's when the digital enablers kick in. The algorithm starts pumping out the best 5 seconds of your 10-hour stream, getting people all excited to see you betting big, even if it was the biggest bet of the stream that almost ruined you. The chat keeps begging for bigger bets, and the wins keep getting clipped. This loop continues. But the losses, they're content too. They're just seen as comedy. They're overlooked, even though the result sits with you. The feedback loop doesn't care about the streamer's mental health. Bossman was deteriorating towards the end of his streaming. It only cares about the moments that keep people watching, because their attention is the most valuable currency in the world, and it's why these streamers get paid such big bucks. At first, Bossman's losses were just really good content. It was another bit, another day at the office. Then, the content became the losses, which I've never seen in another streamer. Streams grew erratic, stakes crept higher. The show that paid for the show started to suffocate the person running it, and he literally began punching holes in his wall, arguing with family, and destroying his equipment on stream. Now, anyone who struggled with a gambling addiction knows the script. You swear that this time is going to be different. You keep betting because you have to get back to even, or you cook up some half-assed excuse as to why you're going to bet one more time and then stop later, just not right now. You feel the heat in your chest, the restless legs, the racing thoughts. Now, some gambling creators eventually admit the truth. I'm down bad. I need a miracle. I'm gonna chase and get it back. And it's all fine until they try to get off the hamster wheel. Because behind the scenes, the math is brutal. Long-term losses are guaranteed when it comes to the gambling itself, and the minute that the promotional carrots from the casinos that sponsor these streamers slow down or even run out, the trouble begins. Because people like Bossman are literally developing gambling addictions on stream for the world to see. And they're enabled by the companies that are sponsoring the streams, and of course the chat making donations and asking for crazier bets. But the moment that the deal is gone or the donations dry up, it's not like the addiction is gone. An audience that always wants higher stakes but never pays your tab, and a company that only keeps you around until you're not of use anymore, is a recipe for disaster. For viewers, it's easy to think that he knows what he's doing. Now here's the part that we have to talk about carefully. Desperation leads people to do desperate things. According to community reports and gaming media coverage, Bossman actually faced charges tied to grand theft and drug possession stemming from his gambling addiction. While the details remain vaguely convoluted, the sequence is undeniable. Mounting debt from his streams, erratic behavior on stream, and public declarations of being in a hole led to law enforcement becoming involved. In one well-documented instance, he was arrested for felony possession and reportedly other offenses. The pattern reflects a well-known trajectory in gambling addiction. When you're chasing losses, the game that you're playing stops being about having fun or even making money. What you're doing is you're paying back the last loss that you had. And in that state, the stakes aren't just dollars, they become your life, your identity, even your freedom if you gamble until prison, insanity, or death like Bossman did. For a streamer whose business was built on high-stakes, high-risk gambling, this meant that the consequences were brutal and public. What remains shocking is how quickly the fall happened once the show could no longer hide his pain. Bossman went from live streaming big wins to defending himself in a courtroom. His case stands as a warning. When the machine you feed your identity into switches from entertainment to entrapment, the price may include your literal freedom, even if casinos were there bailing you out for a while. Gambling addiction is one of the few addictions where the substance and the currency are the same. Money's not just the means to get high, money is the high. When you're in that spiral, the line between right and wrong gets absolutely blurred. You promise that you're going to pay people back when you hit. You borrow beyond your means, you front-load excuses, you lie to everyone. And in the streaming world, there's additional temptations. There's chargebacks, there's borrowing from viewers, asking for donations, borrowing from friends, and even the casinos that are sponsoring you. You can misrepresent a deal, make yourself look better, overstate a win, go viral. There's so many enabling factors. Because the show only works if the host looks like they're in control, and you need money to look like you're in control in this space. Now, regarding Bossman specifically, there's been multiple public accusations and community discussions over time, suggesting a clear pattern of financial chaos and harmful decisions tied to his chasing losses, which is why he's scared off so many of his viewers. Posts from former fans, moderators, and people who claim to have lent him money began surfacing on forums and on Reddit threads. People were alleging that he had a bunch of unpaid debts, he delayed giveaways, and he disappeared after large losing streaks for a time. Others pointed to sudden changes in his tone, from confident bankroll talk to emotional late-night streams, literally begging for the chat to give him money. Whether every detail is true or not, the consistent theme in these accounts paints a picture of someone who was literally spiraling live on camera for an audience to see, financially and emotionally, while attempting to maintain the illusion that everything was fine. In one clip, he admitted that he was in a hole, and he just needed one more run to get it back. There was probably a lot more than one clip saying that. In another, chat messages poured in with people both cheering him on and begging him to stop. His chat was literally begging him to stop gambling. That's how bad he was addicted on camera. And this is what an addiction looks like in public. It's a mixture of denial, desperation, and performative betting. Even when the money runs out, the persona has to keep paying the bills. And that's when many gamblers cross dangerous lines. Even worse for streamers. They're borrowing under false pretenses. They're accepting shady half-ass sponsorships. Or they're manipulating their communities just to stay afloat. What matters is the pattern. When gambling addiction deepens, the risk of financial deception rises. For some, that literally crosses into committing crimes. For others, it's a trail of broken promises that still harms everyone around them. The psychology is straightforward, and it's honestly pretty devastating. If I can just win once, I can fix the past, pay everyone back, and everything will be completely fine, and everything's great again. But there's never a big enough win to satisfy even the smallest dream. And I learned that as a gambling addict myself. I made my last bet November the 12th of 2022, and I create content about gambling addiction so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. So subscribe if you're relating to myself or to Bossman here. The big win almost never actually comes. And even if it does, it rarely ends the story, because a win becomes a reason to bet again. Remember, if nothing else from this video, all wins are future losses, even when you're streaming them. Now, after the fall comes the accounting. Broken relationships, betrayed fans, friends who no longer pick up the phone. This is reality for everyone that develops a gambling addiction. But for creators, the internet is merciless. The same system that rewards the big win clip scrolls right past the human collapse, and they just find another streamer to watch instead. They've squeezed you for all the value that you're worth. We've seen this story before. Streamers, athletes, public figures, they dig themselves a hole so deep that they can't see daylight. They insist that the next run is going to fix everything. They swear it's under control. They promise transparency, and then they hide for weeks because they're not ready to face what they've done. When you lose everything, you start believing that the next win is the only way out. That's not hope. That's desperation. And I'm not saying that Bossman Jack is uniquely evil. This isn't even made to pick on him. I'm saying that this machine of online gambling and the promotion of online gambling streamers literally eats people alive. The streamers and the audience that sign up and lose their own money. If you feed online gambling your mind, your money, and your identity, it's only going to ask you for more, and you're going to become someone who feels like you can't live without gambling. And when you have nothing left, it will ask for what is left of your integrity. I've really been there myself. In private and, not in public, bringing other people into the addiction, but nonetheless, I've been through the same up and down sickness. When I lost everything, I thought that money was the cure. If I could pay every debt, no one would hate me anymore. If I could hit one more time, I would stop and I'd be happy. That was the lie that kept me sick. Again, this video is not to shame Bossman Jack. It's to show you where this road leads, even for people who get paid to do it. If you're watching this and you're thinking, that could be me, it's time to reach out before it becomes you. Here's what I wish someone had told me sooner. I wish someone had told me to ask myself why I'm gambling, why I'm doing what I'm about to do. Because the moment that you no longer have an answer that makes sense is the day to consider reaching out for help. If you need support, there's resources linked in the description of this video. You're not a villain for getting addicted to gambling, but you are responsible for what happens next in your life. If you found this video interesting, check out this next video about Togi, who's another gambling influencer who's doing a ton of damage to his audience and to himself. Now let's keep getting better together, one day at a time.